Okay, team leaders, so now I'm going to talk about the Writing Center, and then we'll talk about puzzles. So the Writing Center, you all are getting blank books, and you'll have your markers and your crayons and your pencils, and the purpose is vocabulary and also the meaning and use of print. So a couple of really important things to emphasize when children come over to the Writing Center is to talk to children about the author is the person that writes the words, and the illustrator is the person that draws the pictures, and encourage the children to put, if they're the author and the illustrator, then they should put, their name on the front, and you can talk with them about, what an author does and what an illustrator does. Also, as children, if they're drawing pictures in the book, I think it's really important to help them think about that. If they draw a picture, of a person, asking them questions like, oh, and what's the next thing that's going to happen to this person? What's the next thing that's going to happen in your story? And try to encourage the children to go to the next page, because that's really about the meaning and use of print, that if you make a picture and something happens in the picture, what's going to happen next? And who else is going to be in your story? And what is the person in your picture going to say to the other person? So that is a good way to emphasize the meaning and use of print. Is kind of helping the children think about what's going to happen next in their story, and talking about how we can turn these blank books into stories that have an author and that have an illustrator. I think another really important tip is that when the core members make a book, they can really in their book, maybe they're going to have a crib or a cradle. Like some of the vocabulary words, maybe somebody's whispering in their story, which is a vocabulary word from Session Plan 1. So the core members should make good use of their books and also help the children understand that maybe something happens on one page and then it goes on to the next page. That these are where children are making stories, and the core members should be drawing something that has to do with Peter's chair, that has to do with Oonga Boonga, a vocabulary word, etc. And encourage the children, once they come over, the first thing to do is put their names on it so that we know who's the author and also who's the illustrator. So that's really important for writing. Something else, and then let's talk about puzzles. So puzzles, you have your matching ABC boards. I think a really important tip for the team, whichever core member is in charge of this, is that during the team meeting, you really should have the core member double check that all the letters that they have actually match the boards, because sometimes we don't send out the right letters, so definitely they should actually match them all in the team meeting. Obviously, we know that there's some children where this is really easy for them and they can match all the letters really quickly, and that's okay. But this game is an opportunity to talk about the shapes of letters. So, oh look, I see the letter J. It has a long vertical line, and then it kind of curves around into a loop. So talking with children about what other letters have a long vertical line on your board. Let's see if we can find one. Oh, I see the letter D has a long vertical line. So talking with children about comparing and contrasting letters, especially if children are really good at this, we want to challenge them and talk about the different shapes of letters. You also might have children who don't know, maybe they're thinking about a particular letter, they don't know what it looks like. Having a notepad handy is really important, so showing children, oh, this is what the letter E looks like. This one, however, is the letter F. So having a little notepad handy to kind of show the children the difference between the letters is a really good strategy. I have seen core members turn this into a race, which sometimes can be okay, but make sure that you're talking about the shapes. So we have vertical lines, we have diagonal lines, we also, the letter H has a horizontal line in the middle, so talking and comparing the different types of shapes that children see in the letters. So that is a really good conversation to have with children about the shapes of letters, in addition to that, figuring out which letters are which. And this activity in Session Plan 2 really sets us up for success for welcome for Session Plan 3, which is about the shapes, we start talking about the shapes of letters. So great opportunity to talk about shapes of letters, and definitely make sure that the core member makes sure that you have the right letters that you need to complete your ABC board. You'll get 6 boards. Usually 3 of them are kind of one board, and then you'll see. They're not all the same board, but you only get 6. And I think that's it.